Hello sir, good morning. We assigned to discuss about the chapter 5 which is soul making, art making. But before that, let us introduce ourselves first. I am Giselle Swa.
I am Helnalyn Sarusa.
And I'm Rizal Jayawud.
I'm Charmaine Sabio.
And for the introduction, here is Charmaine.
Introductions. Artists typically don't use the word innovations to characterize their work because innovations implies the instrumentalizations of these multiple forms of consciousness to achieve specific goals. Rather, they talk about creativity, a word that signifies a more open-ended conversations, one that is process-oriented instead of goal-oriented. The goal is to create an experimental laboratory where, as in science, there is an expectations of risk and recognitions of the inevitability of failure. Artists avoid using innovations because it suggests a practical goal-driven approach using different ways of thinking and creating to achieve a specific outcome. Instead, they prefer the term creativity, which reflects a more exploratory, open-ended process. Creativity focuses on experimentation and discovery rather than meeting defined objectives. Like in scientific experiments, artistic creativity involves taking risk and accepting that failure is a natural and valuable part of the process. Soul making. Art making is a fun and rewarding way for people to express themselves and to learn a broad range of skills and concepts. In making art, students explore the materials and techniques used by artists and architects and experience the decision-making practices that artists have used over the centuries. While many educators emphasize the creative process and explorations through art, others focus on developing studio skills and a fully realized final product. Students focus on developing and working for their ending craft, become amateur or professional artists. When educators emphasize the art-making process over the final product, students increase their sense of mastery, decision-making, and feeling of inclusion and independence, and ultimately grow in self-awareness. Working in groups offers opportunities for shared risk, taking and completing works through teamwork, cooperations, and the exchange of ideas. When students make art, they have the opportunity to express their feelings, fantasize, tell stories, and give their ideas concrete form. They can reflect and draw upon their everyday experience and observations. Students find relationship between objects, consider alternatives, and make choices. They identify with the ideas and feelings explored and expressed by well-known artists. This process suggests that expertise in art is an ongoing journey without definite endpoint. No one can truly claim to have mastered it completely, as it is a lifelong process of learning and growth. While formal training is not essential for becoming an artist, it can be very beneficial because it provides structures, learning, and access to the collective knowledge of teachers and peers. For beginners, art education often starts with foundation skills like drawing, understanding two-dimensional and three-dimensional design, art history, perspective, lettering, and color theory. These skills build a strong base for more advanced techniques and mediums, such as ceramics, sculptures, photography, printmaking, and painting, which are typically explored after the first year of students. Formal training accelerates learning by exposing students to wide variety of artistic disciplines and insights early in their journey. Art making is fascinating and effective way to introduce students to a wide variety of lectures and help them develop their tactile exploration skills. Younger students develop their motor skills when working on constructions or modeling projects that involve manipulating paper, cardboard, clay, plasters, and other materials. Creating art is an enjoyable and fulfilling way to express yourself while learning valuable skills and concepts. Through art, students experiment with materials, techniques, and decision-making processes used by artists and architects throughout history. Some art educators prioritize the creative process and explorations, while others emphasize mastering technical skills and producing polished final works. As students refine their abilities and deepen their practice, they make progress towards becoming amateurs or professionals artists. For continuation, Miss Howard.
The art, the art making process. An art making process, students receive guided instruction on how to start and finish a typical art project using efficiently in best practice. The art making process typically involves several stages that guide artists from the initial inspiration to the final piece. Number 1. Phase 1 begins with the skirting, breadlining, color, drawing, or filling in the underneath painting. Phase 2, including editing multiply layers or tone, color, or painting with an artwork. Phase 3 ends with the student editing final details and scrap finishing, showing case and their finished projects. Stage of art making. Art does just happen. Whether it's a simple line drawing or an involved realistic painting, there's a defined prediction to the creative process. Number 1. Inspiration. This is one most exciting moment in the process of creating art. Inspiration is a deeply personal and dynamic aspect of the art making process, by recognizing and nurturing source of inspiration. Second, percolation. While not the most glamorous part of the creative process, the percolation period is vital in creative art. Percolation, whether in specific social or artist concept, represent the movement, filtering, and transformation or ideas to information. It emphasizes the importance of patience and reflection in the creative process, allowing of the organic development of concept and expression. Preparation can be confused with the preparation period, but is a more active and focused the time. You're settled on your inspiration and how you like the process. Preparation is an essential step that lays the groundwork of successful artist creation. By taking time to find goals, gathering resources, and plan your approach, you can enhance your creative process and increase the likelihood of achieving your desired outcome. Fourth, creation. Finally, it's time to make it happen. Creation is the time during which you are solely on your path. You have your pen and paper, your brush to canvas your creative. Creation is the process of writing ideas, concept, or vision to life through various forms and expressions such as art, writing, music, designs, and more. This phase follows preparation of theme where the most transformative and fulfilling work. Number 5. Reflection. After you create a piece of art, there's my slight easy of activity. Sharing it with family, friends, delivering it to clients, hanging and to on the wall. Reflection is a vital stage in creative process that involves looking back on your work, experience, and the journey you're taken. This phase allows you to evaluate your creative output, understanding what you learned, and consider how you can apply those insights to your future project. 7. The Bianson Principle. One of the biggest questions about innovation is how to maintain it over time. After all, these are lot of wonders, but only a few people can continue to come up with innovation ideas on ongoing basis. The 7th Bianson Principle refers to set a concept inspired by the life work of real world events, emphasizing creative innovation and holistic thinking. Number 1. Curiosity. An unstable curious approach to life and unrealistic question of curiosation learning. After all, do you have ever met a success people who does not claim to be? Curiosity is a powerful principle that can transform the way you approach learning, creativity, problem solving. Number 2. Demonstrable science. A commitment to rest knowledge through experience, persistence, and willingness to learn from the past mistake. These are pretty much two scientific a principal attribute to Leonardo da Vinci, it emphasized the importance of learning through experience, experimentation, and observation. Number 3, sensitization. Continual referring of the sense of the means of invalid experience to involve we most aware of what is going on around us. Number 4, fumato, or going up in smoke. The literal translation for the terms is going up to smoke. It's about the willingness to embrace ambiguity, paradox, and uncertainty. Fumato is a powerful artistic technique that trends and visual application offer valuable insight into how one can approach in life, relationship, and creative by embracing principle of softness. Number 5, arte or scienza, developing a balance between logic and imagination. After all, imagination without logic is a daydreaming, and logic without imagination is a boring other terms for the balancing between art and science as well as whole brain thinking. The relation between art and science is a rich and multiplies, offering endless possibility for exploration and involvement. Number 6 is cooperata or of the body. This is about maintaining a healthy body as well as healthy mind. Have you ever seen a really unhealthy person who have creative cooperata or cooperativity relates to the physical body it is present in the world. This concept emphasizes the significance of the body in various concepts, including arts and everyday life. Last, number 7, connection or connection. This is the simple recognition of the interconnectedness of the all things of phenomena. Connection or connection is a multi-phase concept that encompasses various dimensions of human experience, including emotion, social, intellectual, and spiritual aspects. For the next reporter, I will give it Sarosa Helnali.
Act of cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation, its concept is psychology deadline to the adoption of elements for monetary culture by members of the demand culture. Young 2010 is the standards for the equal culture enhanced due to the presence of colonial elements in imbalance of power. Culture appropriation. Someone adapt the affective of the culture that ascend their own without acknowledging in respect. Appropriation is the practice of creating a new work by taking a presenting image for another source, art, history, book. Abstract this the media in transforming or combining it with a new ones. Appropriation is the act of the taking possession of the something, and it can be applied to many different contexts including the arts, culture, and physical objects. Culture appropriation idea. Open portrait as harmful in contemporary culture in the claim to be a violation of the collective intellectual property right of the end of the claim to be violation of the collective intellectual property right of the originating monetary culture known about ingenious culture in those living under the colonial rule of the open the original meaning of those cultural elements is the loss of distort in such discipline are open view as the disrespectful of even as for the dissection by member of the originating culture. Difference between the types of appropriation are critical in determining whether in the how and the instance of appropriation and objectional there are the less quite different sort of activity cultural appropriation. First, objective appropriation. Appropriation occurs when the possession of a tangible object such as culture is transferred for the member of the culture to member of another culture. The removal of the decoration from the part, Parthenon by Lord Elgin of King regarding as a case of material appropriation. Objective of creation occurs when the first process of the tangible or arts is transferred from member of one culture to member of another culture. Contain appropriation. This form, the appropriation involves the reproduction by member of the culture of the tangible work of art such as stories, musical position of dramatic words produced by someone another culture. Content appropriation is the act of using information such an idea, fact, of story for a new purpose. Stylistic appropriation. Sometimes the arts do not reproduce work produced by another culture by style. Take a something from the culture is the such case artists produce work that stylistic elements of common with the work of another culture. Stylistic appropriation is the type of the culture appropriation that occurs when someone uses the stylistic innovation from a different culture group. Or motive appropriation. This form is related to stylistic appropriation. Sometimes the artists of the influenced by the arts of the culture another than their own without the creating words in the some style. Motive appropriation is the type of the culture appropriation that occurs when an artist incorporates design element, patterns, or symbol from an early culture into their own work. Subject appropriation. This occurs when someone for one culture represent member of the aspect of another culture. Subject appropriation occurs when member of the culture called them outsider from the seat of the variety represent a member of the another culture insider for the sake of the convenience or aspect or insider culture. For the last topic is Miss Giselle Swan.
Lesson 2 is Textile Arts of the Minorities. Introduction. The craft of designing or creating textiles, materials composed of a web of natural or artificial fibers, spans global cultures and represents one of the earliest human technologies. Techniques for producing them include weaving, crocketing, knitting, felting, pleating, and looping, resulting in an extraordinary range of materials like cotton, linen, silk, wood, etc. Textiles have long served various purposes, including the decorative, for instance, and tapestries and rugs. So, textile arts involve making things from fibers like plants, animals, and synthetic. It is an ancient craft used for clothing, shelter, and decoration. Textiles also conveyed status and commemorated events. The art includes dyeing, printing, embroidery, weaving, and the methods and tools used to create items like carpets and quilts. The tinalak process is a traditional cloth woven by the Tibuli women of Lake Cebu, and to them, this unique fabric represents birth, life, union and marriage, and death. It is often used as blankets and clothing, and in rare occasions, it is used in the royal wedding ceremonies. The tinalak is sacred and represents the Tibuli uniqueness and identity as indigenous group of people. So the tinalak process is a traditional cloth woven by Tibuli women of Lake Cebu. It symbolizes birth, life, marriage, and death. And it is used for clothing, blankets, and sometimes weavings. Making tinalak is a skill passed down through generations, taking 1 to 5 years to master. Weaving the tinalak is a tedious and requires numerous steps for a single cloth to be completed. Here under are the process to be undertaken in weaving tinalak. So step 1 is kidungon or abaka plant. Harvesting of the abaka and the strippings of the fibers. Making the tinalak begins by gathering the raw materials used in weaving found in the stems of the abaka plant or the kidungon. This plant is from the same family as the banana tree. So in step 1, the tinalak making begins by harvesting abaka fibers from the kidungon plant or that we call abaka. It is related to the banana tree. And step 2 is timbung or connecting. Segregating the fibers and connecting them from end to end after air drying the newly harvested fibers for at least 24 hours or until they are adequately supple. The fibers are grouped into rest-size bundles. To soften the fibers, the women take the abaka strands and hand rub or squeeze them using a motion like washing clothes to make them pliant. So, it is about the harvested abaka fibers are air dried, bundled, and softened by hand rubbing. Then they're separated into fine fibers for lengthwise threads and thicker fibers for crosswise threads. For the step number 3, simdang or setting. Preparing or setting the fibers on the loom for knotting. Once the raw material has been prepared, the connected fibers that make up the warp are set on the gumosmoy or loom. This special loom is composed of a comb-like wooden frame with teeth pointing upwards to preserve the fiber's length and silkiness. After the fibers are smoothened out, they are placed evenly and closely spread on the gumosmoy and held in place by a teladai or a wooden bar that is laid across and directly over the fiber. So, in these steps, the prepared fibers are then set onto a special loom or we can call it gonosmoy to be ready for knotting. So, the next is step number 4, mebed or designing. Knotting the fibers prior to recess dyeing. The next phase is the design process called mebed, which begins on the tying frame. This delicate task of knotting the warp for the recess dyeing method determines the design of the tinalak. This is a tedious and intricate process that can take up to 4 to 5 weeks as knot after is tied into place. So in step 4, the fibers are then knotted on a dyeing frame called mebed, a process that creates the tinalak design and can take several weeks. For the step number 5 is imugo or dyeing and hepku or untying of knots. Gathering and preparing the natural dyes, dyeing the warmth on the tying knot. A tinalak is designed by using the three traditional colors, black, red, and white. In coloring the abacus strands, the Tiboli women made use of natural dyes found in vegetation around their area. This process of recess dye is commonly known as the ikat method that is shared with the neighboring countries of Indonesia and Thailand. So, the knotted fibers are dyed using natural dyes like black, red, and white. There is a process called ikat. After dyeing, the knots are untied. So, ang kitem for the black dye is derived from the leaves of the sinalang tree, and hulu or the red dye is taken from the roots and bark shavings of the small leafed lupo tree. And for the step number 6 is weevil or weaving. Heating the dyed warmth on the backstrap loom, the tibuli backstrap loom or the likubo is a form of horizontal two-bar or two-bend loom where one bar is attached to the ceiling bamboo stem of the tibuli longhouse and the second bend or the backstrap is attached to the weaver's lower back. So in this step, the dyed fibers are then woven on backstrap loom called likubo. And for the last step is step, step number 7, which is called simaki or ironing. Varnishing the surface of the tinalak. The final phase of producing the tinalak involves varnishing the surface with a saki or coloring pen. While the fabric is still moist, this shell is attached to one end of a bamboo stick with the other end attached to a hole in the ceiling of the loom house to help apply additional pressure to the procedure. This task involves a strong body as the shells is firmly rubbed repeatedly on the tinalak in order to flatten it and produce an even pristine dot. So for the last step is it is about finally the woven tinalak is varnished using smooth and gloss using a curry pen. The Tinalak and Tibuli art. The Tibuli are famous of their dream-inspired spirit-infused Tinalak weavings, but also their embroidery, grass casting, and other crafts. Tinalak weaving is an art form perfected over decades of practice by Tibuli women, and only a handful of masters weavers can be considered true dream weavers, and the work of whom are highly valued. Tinalak deep brown abaca-based cloth tie-dyed with intricate designs is produced by women of Mindanao's Tibuli tribe. It is one of the best known cultural products of the Philippines. Tibuli are also known for their bead jewelry and wood carving. Rounding up, these cultural practices are a rich tradition of dancing, singing, and instrument playing. And Tibuli musicians and dancers have performed at major events around the world. So when we say the Tinalak and Tibuli art, or the people of the Philippines are known for their unique Tinalak weavings inspired by dreams, embroidery, and other crafts. Tinalak, a tie-dyed abaca cloth, is highly valued with only a few master weavers. They are also skilled in beadwork, wood carving, music, and dance. Dagmay. The Bandara is one of the Mindanao surviving minority tribes of the Philippines. They live in a mountainous areas above the coastal town of Davao Oriental, particularly in Buston, Catel, Baganga, Caraga, and Manay. For many generations, the Mandaya have been cloth from fibers of a native abaca tree, a variety of banana family which is abundant in the region. The dyes are made from mud, root, and other organic materials. This cloth is known locally as dagmay. It is distinguished from the other tribe weaving by the intricate figures and patterns depicting the folklores and religion of the tribe. The crocodile is held sacred as shown by the frequency with which it appears in their decorative design. Each design is an expression of the weaver. The unique culture of Dagmay weaving by the Mandayan tribe earned them the title Lumad that weave Dagmay. So, in short, Dagmay is the Mandayan tribe of Mindanao, Philippines, weaves Dagmay, cloth from abaca fibers using natural dyes. Dagmay is known for its intricate designs depicting folklore and religion, often featuring the sacred crocodile. This unique weaving skill earned them the title Lumad that weave Dagmay. And next is Pis Shabit. Pis Shabit is a traditional cloth tapestry made from cotton or silk worn as a head covering by the Tausog of Solo. The most recognized community of Pis Shabit weavers in Solo are from Barangay Gimba, Lagasan, and the town of Parang. This community of weavers, well known for their expertise in the craft, their bold, contrasting colors, avenues of their weave, and their faithfulness to traditional designs. Pishabit is characterized with intricate geometric patterns of colors, segmented into the smallest squares, triangles, and diamonds. In modern times, Pishabit is also used to decorate households, such as frames, curtains, and giveaways. So Sawabi is a woman remains faithful to the art of Pishabit weaving. She had already been teaching the young women of Parang how to make a living from their woven fabrics. Some of her students are already teachers themselves. She looks forward to sharing the traditional of Pishabit weaving to the younger generations. So Pishabit is a traditional tausog or in Solo, Philippines. Head covering made from cotton or silk, known for its intricate geometric patterns and bold colors. Weavers from Parang, Sulu are particularly skilled in this craft and are passing their knowledge onto younger generation. And last is Inaul. Inaul is a time-honored weaving traditional of the Maguindanao people, usually made into malong or wrapped around skirts, commonly and regularly used by both sexes. Inaul has more than 20 designs, with a real and heirloom piece being the rarest, since it is longer being produced and hard to find. Other notable designs include ompak, which is embroidered hidden and hard to do, binaludto or rainbow, panigabi or taro, and the rare tie-dye, binaludan called ikat by the Tibuli and the people of Cordillera. The three types of threads being used in weaving are tanor, which is cottony, the silky rayon, and katiyado, which is the shiny type. Rayon and tanor can be mixed together to form a malong called mestiza. The colors are also a reflected of the Maguindanao culture. Red means bravery, green for peace, black for dignity, and white for sadness. Today, Inaul is no longer confined to malong and is now being made into modern clothing such as gowns, polo, and trousers. In short, Inaul is a traditional Maguindanao Philippines weaving primarily used for malongs, wraparound skirts. It features various designs with royal being the rarest. Different threads types like cottony called tanor, silky called rayon, and shiny called katiyado, and colors red for bravery, green for peace, black for dignity, white for sadness are used. Inaul is now also used in modern clothing. And that is all our report for the chapter 5, which is the soul making or art making.